Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Will Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and for today's episode of Suki Nihon, we are looking at episode 15 of Season 3 of Steven Universe, Alone at Sea. So, Greg rents a boat. Decides not to buy it because let's not get a little overboard with that money. Puns. And jokes. Definitely clean jokes that he says he learned from various seamen. That's not a clean joke. Anywho, so Greg rents a boat, and Steven decides to help Lapis get over her issues with water. Yeah, she's pretty uncomfortable for most of this episode, despite Steve and Greg's attempts to help her cope. She's still pretty uneasy because, remember, she's had that whole traumatic experience, etc., the whole Malachite incident. Which, of course, is kind of analogous to a, quote, abusive relationship, end quote. I guess that's kind of what they're going with that. Considering that fusion is essentially what we see with Garnet or with Stevani, essentially fusion is supposed to be like it makes you more powerful, it defends you, but it's also kind of a safe space for some of these characters. With Garnet, she's always perpetually fused because she feels more comfortable that way. They feel more comfortable together than apart. And then they just kind of ride on that emotion. It'd be kind of like if Goku and Vegeta did their did the fusion dance thing and decided, we're just gonna be Gogeta forever, and that's pretty much it. Which would actually be kind of cool if they did like Super Saiyan SJ5, whatever. That's a completely different series. That's not what we're talking about at all. Anyways, she tries fishing, which actually I like the fact that they show that it is kind of a little dull, and Greg goes, well, it's not the fish you keep, it's the company you catch. Or actually, it's not the fish you catch, it's the company you keep. He gets that little saying a little bit wrong. But fishing, when I was growing up, fishing was one of those things where there was like a thing where God likes to talk to people while they're fishing. That's essentially when you're out there just being calm, collected, taking in everything around you. It's so relaxing. That's why fishing is good. Anyways, she tries fishing and almost catches something huge, but that catch breaks the rod, and then the boat comes under attack from something. And it turns out it's Jasper. Seriously. Apparently, before we get the reveal that Jasper is back, Lapis seems to have developed a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome from her time fused with Jasper. And she's like, well, I kind of liked it. Thing is, Jasper kind of liked it too. Anyways, they both realize that, although they both realize that they're both stronger as Malachite, Lapis doesn't want to do that again. Jasper does. Jasper's all like, let's fuse again, that was amazing! In Jasper's ambiguously husky voice. And then Lapis is all like, no, I didn't like myself when I was in this, when I did this. It may have been more powerful, it may have been something amazing, but I didn't like it. And she has to consider that. Kind of like, it reminds me a little bit, the whole Lapis situation reminds me a little bit of the, not Alexandrite, wait, try to remember what the fusion is between Pearl and Garnet. I think it's Alexandrite. Yeah, remember they fused that and she's all like, remember when that episode where Pearl was re-breaking that communication center and then repairing it to do the fusion with Garnet, and then they both got mad at each other and this was a big drama thing for a couple episodes. Kind of that same thing. Which goes back to my point that gems don't actually grow, essentially. And we'll get into that a little bit later in another episode. Remember how I said they seem to be emotionally immature? They can't grow physically, apparently, but they can grow emotionally, which is something that Pearl and Lapis both aren't at yet. So Lapis liked it, the whole Malachite thing, and decides, no, I don't like myself when I'm like this, or with this person. I can't be around this person. So what she does is she sends Jasper packing and sinks the SS Lil Lappy, which I always thought that was pretty funny. It's actually SS Misery, and then they just kind of taped up a little thing that says Lil Lappy up over Misery. So it's just a boat of issues, and at the end of this episode, it's sinking because Lapis dealt with those issues by pretty much punching them, and the only thing that popped into my head when she sends Jasper packing with a big watery one punch Lapis, is the only thing I could think of was like, it looks like Jasper's blasting off again. Yeah. Anywho, so she accidentally sinks the boat, and then Greg's like, I guess I bought a boat after all. Actually, I'm pretty sure he'd have some kind of renter's insurance on that. I mean, seriously, you don't rent a boat without having insurance to cover the boat in case it damages. In fact, if that boat sinks, the place that he rented it from will get all sorts of interesting stuff out of that as soon as they're able to prove that it was like an act of God or some type of other unavoidable accident. So having a huge hole in the from top to bottom of it means, hey, they got hit by something and they sunk. So yeah, nobody's going to have to own that at the end of this. Insurance will probably pay out for the rest of it. But at least Lapis feels better. I did find it kind of amusing to a little bit of Greg's little fanboying over Lapis when he, like, finally formally meeting her. He's all like, I'm gonna shake your hand, and then nothing. She just kind of leaves him hanging, which I thought was kind of amusing, considering that he put together like that album and stuff that was inspired by her little escapade with the Earth's oceans, which I thought was a pretty good episode. It's nice to see them wrapping up these little loose ends. Although Jasper's still a loose end, Jasper's somewhere in the middle of the ocean again. So they'll have to deal with that at some point. But yeah. Actually, it'd be kind of nice if he just keeps coming back. You know, just kind of hang out there. He just have him like knock on the door and show up one time and be like, hey everyone. Hi. You know, eventually they're going to have to deal with that. And also, now that he's made an appearance, the Ruby team that they sent off to, I think they sent him off to like Mars or Neptune or something like that, probably has detected where he is. Sorry, she is, where Jasper is. I sometimes forget that they're all female, because sometimes they've got like, Jasper in particular has more of a macho frame, despite the fact that they're all without sex. They're all the same sex. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Now that Jasper's shown up again, we'll probably see that Ruby squad show up again because they're still looking for Jasper. And considering that there's another episode coming up called Gem Hunt, about, I think, not this next week, but the next week after this, I think we'll probably find out more in that episode. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So what'd you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up, you know. Go ahead and like us. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.